One of the biggest challenges that most of you are going to have when you transition from your 9 to 5 into being a business owner is probably one that y'all ain't thought about. Oh, but this one right here is going to keep you from everything that you want out of life and out of your business. You are going to have to take the mask off. But B, wait. What you talking about? I ain't got no mask. Oh, yeah, you got a mask on. You got a mask on. See, when we in corporate America, we have to figure out how to assimilate ourselves in that environment. So we dress a certain way. We talk a certain way. We go certain places to eat. We watch certain things on television. We assimilate to our environment. So the thing that's underestimated most is just how much we've assimilated in that environment to when we actually branch out into becoming a business owner, we still wear the stench. We still got the residue on us. What's the problem with that? The problem with that is in order to be a successful business owner, then you have to be an authentic business owner. I'm Brian Adamson, your host of the Believers in Business podcast. Welcome back to another episode. And look, ask me how I know. I'm so clear about this conversation today because I had to get rid of my proverbial mask. I left corporate America some 7 years ago, and I'd already been entrepreneurial spirited. I'd already grown $1 million business while at corporate, and left corporate and obviously made millions of dollars thereafter and helped others do the same. But this thing like plagued me for a very long time, and I didn't see it. It was like the silent killer, where you get so accustomed to having a lit as double life and code switch and all the rest of it that you don't realize when you branch off into business, you start doing the same thing in your own business. And I'm just telling you right now, you'll make some money that way, but you'll be miserable in the process. There'll be nothing worse than thinking that you're finding freedom from quitting your job to then feel like you're back in bondage in your own business. So you're going to have to rip the mask off. You're going to have to rip the mask off. You're going to have to find yourself all over again. Not the version of you that worked in that environment, but the real version of you that's going to work in your new environment. Because when you look at it, how is it that, for many years I coached people in real estate, right? Well, it's similar like the Shell on this corner and then the other gas station on the other corner, right? Or the Burger King on this corner and the McDonald's. Like, we're selling essentially the same thing. Why is it that somebody wants to come get it from me instead of from you? The authenticity piece. Because they feel a genuine connection with you. In the scripture, Jesus said, my sheep will hear my voice, right? Whoever's associated and assigned to you will hear your voice. Well, what happens when you filter your message for your family? What happens when you filter your message for your friends? Oh, I can tell you what happened. You miss your tribe because they never heard your voice. Listen to me. Oh, you want to lean in for this one today. You got to rip the mask off. First of all, you got to be aware that you got the mask on. Let's start with that. Let's start with the fact that every time you go to cut the camera on to shoot a piece of content, the reason why you over there struggling for perfectionism is because you come from an environment where you felt like you always had to be right. It's not like that in business. You're going to make more mistakes than you are success. You know what I'm saying? It's just that if you stay consistent long enough over time, the success will still overshadow the failures. But there'll always be far more failures if you were to count it up than times you succeeded. Well, it don't go like that at work. Go to work and fail more times than you succeed and see how that work out. No, you go to work and you follow their process. You follow everything to the T day in and day out so that even if whatever you didn't work, you could say, well, I did it exactly to the process. And then they say, you know what? You're right. We got to go back and reevaluate this process. You're assimilating and you're falling into the framework of whatever that institution is. But in business, it ain't like that. You got to be able to take risks. It's just the opposite of going to work, where they want you to come to work, take no risks. Come to work, do this to the T, right? Take your break. Take your break right here. Take your lunch right here. This is the time limit for it. This is what time you need to be here. This is what you need to wear. This is how you need to conduct yourself. Oh, when you're on that conference call with so and so, this is how you need to. All the things. But in business, you got to know how to color outside the lines. Yeah, I could give you a script and say, use this framework, hook, story, offer when you make your content, but you got to make that framework come to life. You can't just read the words off the page and think it's gonna work, because it only works as good as how authentic you show up. Because your sheep will hear your voice. Some of y'all right now, listen to me. When you are aware of what I'm talking about and you accept it for what it is and you start consciously doing something about it, your business is going to change. You got to get to a place where you stop caring about what anybody else thinks or says other than the people you're supposed to be reaching. Not, does that mean that you just go around and flagrantly, say disrespectful and brass and crass things about people? Absolutely not. But what it does mean, though, is that you don't shy away from having any conversation that could be of the benefit to the people that you've been called to serve and do business with, because you scared of what your family, your friends, your former coworkers, or anybody gonna say. That's a problem. That's a problem. You done started 3 different pages because you're trying to keep everybody separate. No, you are you. If you don't like my page and you my family or my friends and you don't like me selling, then go watch something else. This is what I do now. Because y'all was quite all right when I was putting that monkey suit on and going in there doing that tap dance at the job. You ain't say then like, oh no, don't wear that uniform. Oh no, you wearing another polo today? No, you ain't say none of that. You said, what time you getting off of work so we can hit happy hour? Okay, so this is my new work now. And this is my new uniform. You got to go figure out what you like again. What is your style? You going to show up with suits every day because that's what you did in corporate America? Or you going to show up with board shorts and flip-flops, cargos and flip-flops, jeans and gym shoes? I don't know. You got to figure these things out. Whatever tickle your fancy. Because I can promise you this, the suits ain't going to sell nothing. Okay? Now, when I first started out, right, it's so funny now. When I first started out on social media, on the internet, we wore a lot of suits in our marketing, right? For 2 reasons. One, I think back then it was kind of a vibe. Right, 2018, a lot of the influencers were wearing suits. I like to lie to myself and say I just like to wear suits anyway, which I do, by the way. Like if you see me at a speaking engagement now, more often than not, you will see me in a suit with some nice casual sneakers on. Because that's just my vibe, right? Like I wear that in real life. Me and my wife went out over the weekend. Like I wear that. At that time, it ain't that I didn't wear that, but I was wearing it more for the purposes of standing out in the market and being more respected from having a suit on, right? Because when you go to corporate and you got on slacks and or whatever, then there's a lift to your persona, supposedly. And then it took me a while to get out of the suit and into whatever my vibe was. Like understanding people ain't doing business with you because you got a suit on. Yes, it looks nice, but people vibing with you because of what's in you, not on you. Right? But we all know that depending on what we put on us, it impacts how we feel about what's in us. So if you start to feel as if you put on a uniform again, then you're going to always feel like you're going to work. As opposed to, I'm fly, right? Like I'm chilling today. I had errands I had to run, You know, I live in Florida, so I look very Floridian at the moment. Shout out to Palmer, right? I'm a brand ambassador for them. They make dope resort clothing. Uh, and I'm shooting a podcast right now. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gonna see this video. Some gonna like the shirt, some not. But as y'all can tell, I'm very relaxed right now, and that's where you want to be when you creating content and when you doing business. It's a lifestyle business, right? So I want to do the things that are consistent with my lifestyle. So I only got a couple minutes left, right? Because I got to take a meeting here in a second. But I wanted to have this necessary conversation with y'all. I know it's kind of all over the place. It don't fit the structure of how they would say, do this YouTube video to get the best reach and all the rest of it. It's just a conversation, right? It's just a pod that I felt was requisite because some of y'all are living a lie right now. You're living a lie. You got out of corporate and you're still lying to yourself. And I'm not saying that to point the finger at you. I'm saying that to raise my hand to say, hey, I've been there. It take time, but you can't avoid it though. You got to meet it head on. You got to really see where you at. You got to really question why you do what you do when you do it. Why did I wear that today? Why when I was in that meeting with them, I felt the need to say what I said? Why did I change my tonality when I was in that environment? You got to ask yourself these questions because you'll quickly find out, oh, the reason why you doing it ain't because you crazy. You're doing it because you've been conditioned to do it. Whether that been in school, you had to act a certain way. Whether that been at work, you had to act a certain way. Whether some of y'all, I mean, depending on what house you go to, you at home, you got to act a certain kind of way. So you've been conditioned your whole life to act a certain way in environments. And now you're in an environment where you're supposed to be able to express yourself more freely than any other place that you ever have. And you don't even know how no more. So you got to find yourself again, which, by the way, is exciting. It's an exciting thing to do. It can be painful at times, no doubt about it. But it's an exciting thing to do. To get back to your factory setting. However God intended for you to be when he put you together in your mother's womb. The gifts, the talents, the idiosyncrasies, the resources, the wittiness, the gift of gab, whatever it is that he gave you, you get to now put that on full display as a business owner. And I would argue if you don't, and you just look like the other stiffs, the white hair stiffs, they don't seem like they're having any fun, but they're considerably, hectomillionaires and billionaires. I don't want that, man. That's trash. You get all that money and then you don't even look like you're having a good time. There's something off. They didn't do this exploration that we're talking about. They're masking insecurities and all the rest of it, man. It's nothing like being a prisoner in your own business. You don't want to be in bondage in your own business. You want to be free. So my encouragement to you is go get free and send this to somebody else and help them go get free. And be encouraged, man. Your business is your new playground. Yes, there's got to be some rules and regulations so nobody gets hurt. But otherwise, go have a good time.